Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have a few computers in today. This is kind of like what I class the bread and butter job, so these are not difficult jobs to do, but they pay a decent return really for not too much work. So these are from the same call center. If you saw the repair on the headphones I was doing on the previous video, they're all basically the same. There might be some slight difference between them, but they're all Core i3, probably second gens. And they use these basically with the software they have in the call center, which basically consists of a database, which I believe is centralized on a server. So they just access the database, get so many numbers, they call the numbers, and they can put notes on to say whether somebody answered, how positive or negative they were, and if they sold something. They have quite an interesting process in this call center I'll just mention. So big office area, has a gym included in there. It has table tennis tables in there, kitchen, so during the lunch breaks they're playing table tennis and using the gym. It's air conditioned, and when somebody makes a sale they get up and go over to like a big whiteboard with like a marker pen, a board marker, and kind of like put a tick against the name and ring the bell, like bong, like a bell which you ring and everybody else cheers. I guess that's something to do with teamwork, but I just thought it was worth a mention. I had a look at one of these before for them a few weeks ago, and the problem with that one is that it took forever to load up, like 5 minutes or more. Eventually would load up, it was just running slowly, took a long time to shut down, and they're taking so long to shut down as the operators just switching them off so they can go home, and that's causing corruption in the Windows and just making the problem worse. So there was maybe, I don't know, 30 of these in the spare room, and apparently they're just taking a lot of new staff on for the new season coming up, so they need more machines working. And I believe all these actually have the same problem as the other one, just running slow. So the one I fixed for them, I didn't mess around with it. I mean, it has their software on just to do their job. That's all it's used for. So these had a mechanical hard drive in. I think they were 250 gig, the last one I looked at. I happen to have a 120 gig SATA drive lying around, so I cloned the hard drive. I could do that onto a smaller drive, and I'll show you how I do it, because I'll probably have to do that on some of these as well. And there was only about 40 or 50 gig actually used of the drive, so that's what I did. Put the SSD in. It had 4 gig of RAM, DDR3, so I upped that to 8 gig. I think I took the two gig strips out and put 4 2 gigs, or I did another 2 gigs every 8, and it run really fast. So they called me back to take these, and I said, how's the other one going on? And the manager said, oh, my machine, it runs great. So she has that one, and these are here to do the same sort of job. So I'll have a quick look at them. I have a load of DDR3 here, 4s and 2s. There'll be some coming out of some of these machines and switching around, so I should be able to get 8 into each one. I have 3 more SSDs here at the moment. I have a couple of 120s, and I have a 240, so that'll do 3 of them. And from then on, I'll have to buy some new SSDs, but they're not expensive. I'll just show you. So this is Binary Canarias. This is the main distributor on the island for computer stuff. They do all sorts of computer components. I'm having a quick look here. So they have some Kingston 240 gigs. That'll be absolutely fine for these machines. They're €14.50 plus this weird 90 cents. You see here, this is some sort of tax we pay on the island, like a data tax. It applies on hard drives and USB drives in particular, and the larger they are, the more you pay. So I'm a 150, Luke. I don't know if they have this tax where you are. Maybe just, I think something specific to Spain. Okay, so you can see anyway about 15.50 plus Egypt, which is our equivalent of VAT, which is 7%. So that's another, what's that, €1, I guess, or close to that. And you can see that if I order more than €60, it's free postage, it's telling me here. So I can order some drives through the machines from there. That's how much they're going to cost me, about $15.50. If I need any more RAM, I can get from the same place cheap. I'm very open with you guys to let you know how I'm doing with this sort of work. So the one that I did already for them, I charged them €80, and really it's a matter of just swapping the parts and then running the software and letting it transfer everything over, which I used another machine to do. So just leave it and get on with it while I get on with something else. They have a lot of machines, so they kind of said, can you do them for 70? And I said, yes, but I'll use a mixture of new and used parts, but they'll all be of that spec and I'll give you a warranty. And they said, fine. So that's where we are. 70 plus the EJIC is about 75. And you see it's costing me about 15 in parts, maybe a little bit more for RAM. So they're happy, I'm happy. Let's get on with it. Let's see what's going on with these machines. Here's the first one. Although these things look the same, there is some variation between them. This one has VGA and DisplayPort. I don't have any way to capture from that at the moment. So I only have from HDMI or DVI. So I'll just connect this to my monitor. I'll point the camera at it for now. It says valid seg or something here. This is Scandinavian, Swedish, I believe. Okay, yeah, that might mean something like no valid partition. I'm not totally sure. We're going to find out in a moment. Stiff to get in this one. Oh, that's because there's a sellotape. That's because there's sellotape on it. Okay, that's why it's a bit stiff to get in. It's more like it. Okay, so as I said, physical hard drive. This is a 250 gig, but we will find, I'm sure, that there isn't much data on it, so we can clone that to a smaller drive. Use what we have at the moment. Can we send the RAM down here? Let's have a look. Take this out. Yeah, this I think lifts or something like that. No, I think that'll catch pulls out on this one. There we go. Yeah, that's it. This has one strip of RAM fitted, but it has 4 slots. This is, yeah, it's a 4 gig, so I will probably fit 4 lots of 2 or 2 lots of 4 in this, depending on what I have. I can just prop this back here because I need to take it off the machine anyway to clone it. So let's start it and see what it does. Well, something's happening. It's loading, okay. While I have these machines here as well, I changed the CMOS batteries. A lot of them seem to be discharged now. They've had these for some years. So that's another problem they're having, where they say no valid partition. And you need to go into the BIOS, which is reset itself, load the defaults, and then change the boot type to UEFI, and then it'll boot. Okay, if it's on legacy, which is a default, it won't boot. So I'm not timing this, but on the video we'll just make a note of it. Yeah, if it's going to take too long, I'll just speed the thing up. But this is why this one's here is just basically taking a long time to load. Yeah. It may now have a password on, which I probably don't have for this one, or a login. Okay, and we are in Windows. And I think we're just about loaded. So basically the machines are just not very responsive. You'll find the same if you go into the internet as well on the browser. They're just not very responsive. You can see it still hasn't finished loading. I've still got the little swirly icon thing at the bottom there, look. It's now finished loading by the looks of it. So we'll click on the start icon. Look, it takes a few seconds. Yeah, it's thinking about it. Maybe, yeah, then it pops up. I didn't click on it again, it just pops up. So that's what I mean about being unresponsive. While we're here, we can just check on the settings. This will be an i3 of some sort. Could even be a Celeron. I mean, it says i3 on the front of it. Let's have a look. It's got a way to think about it. Try it again. As soon as I start typing, it just like, I think it's trying to search for something. It just isn't responding to me. Yeah, as soon as I click in the search box, that's what it is. Okay, so it really isn't usable. Let's see if we can actually shut this down. Power. Oh, I do see settings now actually. Again, not really responsive. I'm sure eventually it will pop up. But I think you've seen enough, guys, to know why these machines are not usable for them. But that's not like because of the age of this machine. It just wants a little bit of boosting, yeah. More memory, SSD. Let's see what difference that makes. So for now then, I need the hard drive, and let's see what we can find in the way of memory for this machine as well. So just take this off. Okay. We have one strip of RAM. 4 gig, 12800, DDR3. Let's see what I can find. Okay, so that 4 gig can go into one of the other machines. Probably find a matching one. I've got 4 2 gigs here, so they can go into this one. Okay, now how about this hard drive? So guys, the way I prefer to do this, I boot a motherboard. It's just a motherboard here with processor and RAM, and I'm using my 60 gig SSD to boot the machine. That's this one. Okay, and then I attach the hard drive from the Dell machine and the drive I want to clone it to. So this is the 250 gig, this is the 120 gig. And if we just put the camera where you can see the screen. Okay, so you can see my 60 gig drive. There's only about 3.5 gig free on it, but I don't need to put anything else on it. It's fine, it does the job. Then we have a 99 meg and a 48 gig partition. These are on the 120 gig SSD. It had something on. I'm now going to just remove those partitions. A whole chunk of it isn't allocated, so I'll free all that up. And then this drive F, this is 184 gig free of the 232 gig. So we're using 32 and 16, 48 gig of space on that. That's why I can clone it onto the 120 gig and they'll have plenty of room. They have plenty of room now, so they won't have a problem. So to do that, I use some free software. This is Mini Tool Partition Magic. You can see it here, so you can see the drive. That's the Corsair, that's my boot drive. Then this is the target, 112 gigabytes roughly. So I'm going to use Partition Magic first just to get rid of the partitions on this drive. The third one, that's the one I'm actually going to clone that entire drive. Okay, so I could probably clone the drive without doing this. I just prefer to do it this way. So I have 63 gig unallocated on my target drive. I'm just going to remove this partition, so right click and delete. I'm going to remove this partition, so right click and delete. And then we'll apply that. So I now have an empty drive to clone to. Okay. I'm then going to use some other free software to actually clone the drive. So this one I'm using to just do the partitioning is Mini Tool Partition Wizard 3. Okay. So we've done that. Now we'll go to the Macrium Reflect. So this is free as well. Here we go. So we can see the drive here. This is the one which I've freed up. This is the one that I actually want to clone, this one. So we'll click on here. We can see the 4 partitions. I'm just going to tell it to clone this disk. Okay. And then select a disk to clone to. And this is where I'm going to choose my 120 gig target drive, which is empty. Next. Next. Finish. And it's just asking if I want to run this back up now. Yes, don't want to save the definition file. Why not? It won't do any harm. Okay. And now it's doing it for me. So it's just a matter of just leaving it a little while now and let it do its magic. This will probably take about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, let's see. Well, that took 54 minutes basically, so a little while to do. So if you're doing this sort of thing, it's best if you have another bench where you can set it up and let it run while you're doing other work yourself. Now let's have a look to see if this machine runs any faster with the additional 4 gig of RAM and the SSD. So this is the same operating system with all the same crap in it as there was before. Let's see how much difference it makes. While I'm here, I'll just check the CMOS battery. Yeah, it's low, 2.6, so let's change that. That should be good now. If they're less than 3 volts, you should change these things, okay? Right, so let's just see these actually boots from the cloned drive. Okay. So as before, it sort of switches on and off with the power. You have to hit the power button again to start it. Is it going to boot? Well, it switched itself off again and back on again. That's the BIOS doing something. Probably realise it's a different drive on there. Okay, and it's saying to go into setup. Okay, so let's just do that. And once again, it's shut down. Back on again. This time I'll hit delete a few times to get into the BIOS. Okay. Well, something's happening. Okay, no boot device. I think we'll find, because I changed the CMOS battery, probably wants changing to UEFI. I'm going to just get in there. Okay, repeatedly pressing F2 did the job. Okay, so boot sequence is saying the Kingston, that's what we want, but it's on legacy. So we change this to the UEFI setting. Okay, apply that. Exit, and it hopefully will boot now. There must have been enough power in the battery to keep the CMOS settings before. Obviously, when I took it out, it will have reset. Okay. And it's loading. Let's see how much quicker it is. Well, there you go. You can see the difference. Yeah, I mean, we've gone from a machine that was just unusable to now it's loading Windows fast. Yeah, so it should now be responsive. Yeah, that comes up straight away. None of this kind of hanging around while you're waiting for things to happen. I can type into here now where I couldn't before. Settings. Yeah. So you can see it's a different machine. Yeah, it's a different machine. It's still got the same user on, everything else. It's just trying to do an update at the moment. It's not connected to the internet at the moment, so that won't do that if it's trying to do, but fair enough. So that's that one, definitely in a really workable condition. Now, I hope you agree with that. And to be honest, it was not expensive. I mean, this was using some salvage parts, but even with new parts, it wouldn't have cost very much to do it. And the machines I do will be a mixture of things I've got and things I'm going to buy to do the job with. Okay, so let's just shut this one down. It should shut down quickly now. I'll fit the hard drive, not just hanging in the machine like this. And then let's have a quick look at the other machines just to see what's going on with them. They probably all need the same work done. Okay, so I'll use one of these little brackets. Hard drive wants to go this way round. Yep, the holes line up nicely. So I'll just screw this onto here and then fit it into the original plastic thing and put it back together. So this one's back together, guys. You can see, quite neat that. I was just actually chatting, Detlef called in. You've seen Det on the channel a few times. So we were out yesterday. Just a little side story, but I'll just tell you this. It probably means something about the pricing for this sort of work I do. So Wednesday, I noticed I'm driving around. It was very warm here, best part of 40 degrees. And the van, the temperature was running warmer than normal, about half or so on the temperature gauge, or a bit above, and it's normally about a third or so. So I checked on Thursday morning before we went up to IKEA and some of the big shops a bit further up north, kind of like 20 odd kilometres away, 30 kilometres maybe. And I noticed that the water was a bit low. I put about a litre of water in the van, and I don't normally have to put more water, but I thought, well, I've been driving around a lot recently and maybe it's just evaporated. So anyway, on the way back, we got motorway back, and I noticed the van was getting towards the top of the temperature gauge, so I came off the motorway and pulled over, and I realised that most of the water had disappeared somewhere. So I had in the back of the van a big 8 litre bottle of water. I just topped it up, and it was only a few kilometres to home anyway. So this morning I went down to the local one of the repair shops, garages, yeah, and just said water's disappeared somewhere. Yeah, my Spanish is not very good, so I kind of went like, la agua vamos, which means like the water goes. But you knew what I meant. So called me up a few hours later, actually, 3.5 hours later. Said, "Oh, your van's ready." I said, "How much?" And she says, €15, 1.5. I was, oh, okay. So I went down, and turns out what was wrong with it was the radiator cap. Yeah, the seal on the underside of the radiator cap, the metal radiator cap had kind of like gone all crinkly, the rubber, and that's where the water would come out basically. And she just flush this all out with fresh water and then put the cap on. We don't really need coolant here. I mean, like, the coldest it ever gets here really is maybe 14 degrees centigrade plus in winter on the coldest night, so nothing's going to freeze here, yeah? Anyway, but that's my point I'm making. So, garage, independent garage, repair shop, I took it in, said, can you fix this please? Without really, you know, asking how much, and it was €15 and it's fixed and I got it back. Okay. Debt, I've said that wouldn't happen in Germany. It would be like 50 or 70 or something. Over to you guys. What do you think? Yeah, I think that's pretty good to me. But that is kind of like how our economy is here. Okay, enough waffling. Let's have a quick look at these last couple of machines just to see if they need the same sort of thing doing. So here's another one. Let's have a look. Yeah, 250 gig hard drive again, different make, but the same spec, 250 gig. I expect this has got a single strip of RAM underneath, same as the other one. Let's have a look. This thing clips out one way or another. There we go. Yeah, single strip of RAM in there, you can see. So, same thing. Okay, let's have a look. Switch her on. I don't have a keyboard attached to this one, just a mouse at the moment. It might bitch about that. Let's see. Switch off again. Switch back on again. Blue light on. Ah, I saw the Dell logo that time. No active partition, okay. This one probably has a dead CMOS battery. Start it again. Just go into the BIOS, F2. Yeah, we're in. Let's have a look. Yeah, so you can see it's on legacy instead of UEFI. This because the CMOS battery will be flat. Fly. Exit. But it'll probably be very slow booting, so it just wants the same as the other one. Clone the drive, extra 4 gig of RAM, new CMOS battery. This one's a bit faster than the other one, but I will put the SSD in. It should make it quite a lot quicker than it is. Yeah, so it's not as bad as that other one was originally. But again, if I click on stuff, there's a little bit of a delay. You can see that. Oh, this one's all in Swedish. Okay, fair enough. So this will get the same exactly that I did with the other one, and then let's have a look at the last one of these three. Okay, here's the last one, Western Digital. Oh, this is yeah, 250 gig, same as the other one was actually. I'm sure, yeah, I can just see, you can probably see down there if you look. Yeah, that's the single strip of RAM just there, so same sort of upgrade I'm guessing. Let's just check this one. Okay. Start up. Starting. Blue light on the monitor. Yep, same thing, asking to go into setup. So CMOS battery. Restarted itself this time. Let's hit F2 so we get to the BIOS. I thought it would have gone in already, but no. Okay, see what we have. Yeah, once again, it's on legacy. So I'll set this to UEFI again. This, I'm sure, will now boot up. Just be a bit slow. Well, this one doesn't appear to want to boot from the hard drive at all. I'll just switch it off. Okay, let's go again. Yeah, this one doesn't seem to want to boot. Let's just disconnect the hard drive. Go again. Yeah, so it's saying no hard drive found. So this one I think is okay, it just doesn't see the hard drive. I can just go into the BIOS again. I've actually disconnected the hard drive at the moment. To set to UEFI. Okay, let's shut this down. Reconnect the drive. Okay. Go again. Yeah, I'm in the BIOS with the hard drive on. Has he actually seen the drive? Yeah, it sees the hard drive there. I can see it. Western Digital. So it knows it's there. I'll see if I can boot this machine with the hard drive I took off the other one. Yeah, let's have a look. Because the CMOS battery will be down, I'll have to just set it back to UEFI again, I think. Yeah, it's seen the hard drive. It's still on UEFI actually. I'll tell you to load the default settings, okay? Now let's just try it. Yeah, it's booting now, so this either didn't like the hard drive or it didn't like something to do with the default settings. So I'll let this boot up, then let me try it again with the hard drive that's come with it. Okay, so we're in Windows. This is the drive that was running very slow anyway. I'll see if I can tell it to switch off. Shut down. Okay, it's in standby now, but I'm quite happy to just plug this SATA. I mean, with SATA you can usually hot plug them anyway. The BIOS just supports that setting. They'll even appear in Windows. Okay, so I'm back onto the original drive. I'm just going to start this again and see what it thinks. Okay. Okay, so this one will not boot from this drive. There's some problem with it. I'm not quite sure what. We can have a look at that maybe on another video, because somebody sent me some software that supposedly fixes problems like this. Yeah, no bootable device, it doesn't like it, so I'll actually put that on one side for another reason. And here it is. So this, yeah, same 250 gig hard drive. I can see one strip of RAM down there. Same setup basically again. Okay, what's this one doing? Yeah, this one's booting. Fairly quick, this one, for the physical hard drive, but once again I will put the SSD and the extra RAM on this machine. And this one actually has a password on by the looks of it, or maybe not. Yeah, this has a password on it. Okay, so that's one already done. Two are going to be very simple, just the same as I've done with that one, and the other one appears to have a problem with the hard drive itself because the other hard drive worked on the machine. So in that case, I'll speak to them about that, what they would like me to do with it, but it's really up to them. Certainly get 3 running out of 4 without a problem. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, guys. Another good example of the sort of work I do here, but this can be quite profitable, to be quite honest, especially when you're dealing with companies like this who have an entire room full of these things, all sitting there waiting to be fixed. Okay, so let's all meet again on another Learning Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.